Good evening and welcome to Monkeys with Fire. How's everybody tonight? Hope you're all well. So, as we get closer to, I guess, the spooky day of the year, it's traditional on the channel for us to take a look at some kind of horror-themed game. And this year is no different. Thanks to our friends at Free League Publishing, we're going to be taking a look at a variety of books and a box set for their Nordic horror game. That is, of course, Vaesen Nordic Horror. This evening we're going to be taking a look at the starter set. And then we're going to be looking at two other books in our following streams on Friday and Monday next week. So we're setting off with lots of horror-based gaming for the next couple of weeks. And in fact, by the end of November, we'll be visiting another of Free League's horror-themed games. Eagle-eyed viewers will already have had a bit of a tease on that one if you're looking at the YouTube channel. So, looking forward to exploring all of these books with you over the coming shows. Of course, my thanks to our friends at Free League Publishing for providing copies of Vaesen Nordic Horror Starter Set and the additional books that we'll be taking a look at this week. I just want to also take an opportunity here just to shout out to a couple of departments that actually I deal with at Free League. I always say thank you to all of the publishers who kindly provide books for the channel, but there's lots of individuals that obviously help the process. So my thanks to the customer support department at Free League, who are always very, very helpful in getting over information to me very, very quickly, and also to the marketing and PR agency that Free League use. The individuals there, very, very helpful, and so I really do appreciate what they do for the channel. Right then. Now, we are going to probably hit upon some spoiler information during the course of tonight's show, so I will sort of put out the spoiler sign once we get to that area. For players, you probably want to stop at that point. You don't want some of the secrets of Vaesen being spoilt for you. Of course, for Games Masters, you'll want to carry on and check it out. So you have been warned. Right, let's go to the table and take a look. So, as I teased, we are going to be taking a look at two other new releases for Vaesen, which is Mythic Carpathia, which I'm very much looking forward to sharing with you. Really exciting book, this one. And we're going to be looking at City of My Nightmares. We'll be taking a look at that one on Monday evening. But tonight, we are going to be taking a look at the starter set. And considering that Vaesen has been out for some time, it's interesting that this is a brand new starter set because the game didn't have one originally. So this is a perfect way for new players to enter the world of Vaesen. I really hope I'm saying that correct. Every time I talk about this game, I'm always doubting whether I'm getting it right or not. Vaesen, Vaesen. I think it might be Vaesen. You know, if you know for sure, put it into the comments for me. Maybe I'll get it right by Monday evening. You never know. So as I say, this is a brand new release, first time, and Free League are being very, very busy over the next couple of months with lots of updates and new releases for their games. We took a look at a brand new starter set for The One Ring a few weeks ago. We looked at the brand new second edition for Coriolis. This, as I say, is a new release, starter set for Vaesen. And then, of course, we are going to be taking a look at the Alien Evolved edition, effectively a second edition of their award-winning Alien game. So, busy couple of weeks for Free League. Lots of great games to take a look at. Let's take a look at the back. Let's see what it has to say. Welcome to the Mythic North, Northern Europe of the 19th century, but not as we know it today. A land where the myths are real. Vaesen Nordic Horror Roleplaying, based on the acclaimed art book by Johan Egerkrans, presents a dark gothic setting steeped in Nordic folklore and the dark myths of old. This starter set is designed to be the perfect starting point for role-playing in the Mythic North, where the characters are members of a secret society whose members have the sight to see Vaesen. This box set contains everything you need for your game night. So, condensed rules for action skill tests, combat, damage and fear. The complete introductory mission, The Haunting of Castle Gillenkreutz. Oh, Gillenkreutz. I'm going to go with that. Letting the players explore the headquarters of the society itself. Codex Occultum, the society's old journal of Vaesen to be used as a resource for the players. 5 pre-generated and illustrated player characters. A large full-colour map with the Mythic North on one side and the town of Upsala on the other. The map of Castle Gillenkreutz. We're going to go with that again. 3 handout sheets, 5 rules reference cards, 10 initiative cards, and 10 engraved custom dice for the game. And there is a content warning. The old folk tales often express dark and mature themes, and thus the Vaesen RPG explores such themes as well. This is a horror game and not suitable for children, at least not without the Games Master first modifying the content. And I guess that is true, yes. You probably could take out some of the more mature elements in any of these missions. Maybe you could turn it slightly Scooby-Doo-ish. Is there a Scooby-Doo role-playing game? Was it you pesky kids? Alright, let's take a look inside. Just going to put that there. What do we have? Let's take a look at these dice to start off with. That's one of the great things about starter sets. You add to your dice pile. So we have our 6. These are nice. And how many do we have? I think we have 10, is it? Yep, 10 dice there. So plenty of new dice to add to the collection. We'll come back to these, so I'm actually just going to put them just to one side over there. These are the initiative cards. Vaesen uses an adapted version of the Year Zero engine mechanics that the majority of Free League's games use. So initiative cards, we use these in Dragonbane, if you remember when we did one of the live playthroughs. And this quite simply is a set of cards numbered 1 to 10. So they do exactly what they need to do. Put these away. It's gonna stick, isn't it? There we go. Done. Okay. Initiative cards. games catalogue. Let's see, because I'm going to assume this is an updated version. So yes, we do have the Alien Evolved Edition, Blade Runner, the One Ring, and the Lord of the Rings role-playing, which is the 5e adapted set. I've used predominantly the One Ring. Dragonbane, excuse me, which, of course, it is my favourite game. I really like Dragonbane. Coriolis, The Great Dark, which we took a look at on the channel maybe a month or so ago, isn't it? Here we go. We have Vaesen. So we got the brand new starter set in all its glory. Sinbarum, which we started taking a look at a few of the books here. And then, ooh, a bit of a tease here for things that are coming out. So, Invincible. Anyone familiar with the comic and the animated series? Anybody watch that? Outgunned and Outgunned Adventure. Thoroughly enjoyed both of those games. We took a look at the Electric State at the beginning of the year. Tales from the Loop. Twilight 2000, and I believe there is a new version or an updated version coming out soon. This is one that I haven't taken a look at, so maybe I should reach out and find out more about it. Walking Dead. Forbidden Lands. I am really hoping that we're going to have a new add-on for this, because again, this is one of my favourite games. Really enjoy it. And then, of course, Mutant Year Zero. Both the role-playing game and the skirmish game. And channel favourite, Morkborg. Yes, of course. I always love all the Morkborg releases that come out. So, there you go. Quick look. Good evening. Is that Wag? Wag? Hey there, saw that beauty at Eschenspiel Fair. We'll watch later. Enjoy the box. Thank you. Glad that you enjoyed it. I'm sure I'm going to enjoy the contents as well. So what do we have? We have a getting started sheet. So, okay, well, mystery and horror awaits in the Mythic North. All you need to do to get started is the following. Decide who will be the games master. You just opened the box and you're the first one reading this? That's probably you. As the games master, read the rules booklet and the haunting of Cassin Gillenkreutz. I'm going to go with that. Mystery and familiarize yourself with the contents. Let each player pick one of the pre-generated player characters included in the box set, and then let the game begin. But what's good is it does show all the core rules and all of the expansions, which I think this is the Mythic Britain, which obviously really like. We've got there's a set of, I think each of these have 4 mysteries. So is that a Wicked Secret? I think it is. Seasons of the North. Is it the Lost Mountain? And then we've now got Mythic Carpathia that we'll take a look at on Friday, and then the City of My Nightmares. So there's there's 4 adventure books, and then 2 sort of setting books. I guess that's what I'd call them. But the Mythic Britain, really good. Really enjoyed it. The map is absolutely fantastic, and I'm looking forward to seeing the maps in this. And having already seen the map for Mythic Carpathia, you've got something to look forward to on Friday evening. So I'm going to put this here. We're probably going to have to take all the contents out. So we've got our rules book. We have our mystery. The Haunting of Castle Gillenkreutz. Does everybody agree? Here we go. Codex Occultum. Oh, this is okay. This is cool. What are these? These are our player reference cards. We have 5 of these. What do we have? Skill tests, helping, pushing, slow and fast actions, movement, attacking. It's quite simple, isn't it, when it just breaks everything down in a little card. Dodging and parrying, conditions, and fear. Okay, so we'll put that one of those to one side, because that'll be a good reminder for the rules for me. We have some handouts. I'm not going to focus too much on these. I'm going to move past, but these are nice. I like good handouts. Let's take a look at the player characters that we can potentially be. In fact, tidying up as we go. I'm going to put all of these back in the box. I'm going to leave the dice out, because I'm probably going to reference those at some point. Got my reference card here. Put that there. Right, let's look at these. So we do have some fantastic artwork. I've got to remember the name. Get it right. It's Johan Egerkrans. There we go. Again, I hope I am saying that correctly. But I love the style. And of course, having enjoyed looking at Vaesen on all the releases, quite sort of accustomed to this. I think that these would make, this sort of design would make fantastic miniatures. I don't know if Free League has any intention of creating a miniature set to go along with the game. But wow, these would be fantastic, really would. And that's kind of something that I thought about as I was looking through this, and because I've been looking at the Alien Evolved Edition and seeing what they've done with that, and seeing what they've done with Dragonbane as far as miniatures. Yeah, I think this might be the next game that I would turn my attention to. So who do we have here? Torun Mattis? Torun. Let's go with Torun. Who is Torun? A hunter archetype. And so we've got obviously the character sheet here. It's quite a simple sheet, isn't it? Name and age, motivation, trauma and dark secret, relationships to the other characters in the party. We have 4 main attributes: physique, precision, logic, and empathy. And then kind of within each of those, we then have a set of 12 skills. Agility, close combat and force in physique. Medicine, ranged combat and stealth in precision. Investigation, learning and vigilance for logic. And inspiration, manipulation and observation under empathy. If I remember rightly, we might as well do this while we're taking a look. So skill tests. To make a skill test, add your skill level to the score in the attribute linked to the skill and roll all 6 dice together. For the test to succeed, you must roll at least 1 6. Alright, let's do this. So Torun is a hunter and have a rifle with a +2. Is that going to be... So if you help, each person helping you gives 1 extra dice. I'm going to have to double check. I think the +2 is at 2 extra dice. So precision is 5, ranged combat is 3, 8 dice. Let's just go with the basic. Let's see how successful I might be. Of course, regulars to the channel will know that's probably not the case, is it? So 8 dice. All I need is a 6 to succeed. Well, there you go. I get 1 6. So I'm successful, but I've not got any bonus to my shot. So, yes, I just managed to clip my target. Okay, so there you go. It's very, very simple. Nice, easy skill test there. Okay, let's take a look at some of the other characters. We have Franz. I'm just going to stick with the first names. Franz is an officer, or lieutenant. So... not quite as good a sharpshooter. Got a pistol, compass, and saber. We have Otto, who is a priest. I need an old priest and a young priest. Selma, who is a writer. A bit more in the, yes, certainly in the logic area on the character here. Oh, she's got a pet dog. I didn't know you could have dogs. Rasmus, who is a vagabond. I remember Sarah always wanted to play as the vagabond. Do you remember that, Roger? When we were looking at Vaesen for the first time? She loved the idea of being a vagabond. Oh my gosh. So, yes, there we go. Rasmus is good with agility, so maybe a pickpocket, yeah? Alright, that's cool. Let's put those... It was her type. Yes, absolutely it was, wasn't it? Right, let's take a look at these maps. Ooh, so we've got nice quality paper here. This is slightly sturdier. It's got that nice sort of satin, that's the word I'm looking for, satin feel to it. Again, I'm not going to focus in too much on this, but look at the artwork. That's beautiful. So this is the castle in the aforementioned mystery. We like maps. Yeah. Okay. So just one-sided. This will look really cool. Putting this down in the center of your table. Let's just put that here, because let's look at the main map. Wow. Okay. See, this is the great thing about starter sets, is that you get all the props. And this can really make your game, can't it? To be honest, I don't think I think I would always want the starter set. And given the price point on starter sets, typically they are very, very affordable. Because, of course, they want to introduce new players to the game, don't they? But you get so much for it. Obviously, the set of dice, you can purchase these separately if you just get yourself the core rulebook. And these are actually, you know, there's a reasonable cost behind them. So you save yourself that by getting it included in the starter set and then have all these great props as well. So look at this. This is brilliant. So this is... well, it's Stockholm, isn't it? So it's Sweden. Upsala is just here, just north of Stockholm. We have, of course, because of the time period, it's all railway lines. I guess there would be sort of, you know, horse-drawn sort of tracks to the different villages and towns that were starting to sort of develop. Copenhagen, so actually this is Sweden's here, this is Denmark, isn't it? But there's no sort of dividing line, so I think it's all considered as one. And so Finland, well, yeah, is it Finland at the top here? I think it is. I'm gonna get told off for my geography being incredibly poor. By all means, you can comment in the chat and tell me how wrong I am. So yeah, if it's Denmark, Sweden, Norway, is Finland at the top and Norway here? Please be kind. So, because it's Stockholm, Copenhagen. Where is it? Is it Oslo? I can't see it here, but it might have been called something different. I don't know. I'm closer to the area than you are. Yes, exactly. So I should have no excuse. But and considering that I've been to all 4 countries, but it was a long time ago. That's my reasoning, and I'm going to stick with it. But beautiful map. Beautiful map. Really, really great. Can't wait until we look at Mythic Carpathia, where I've never been to that region of the world, and I am going to mess it up really badly. Okay, so we've got overview of the entire region here, but let's focus in on Upsala. So I guess this is a bit of a sort of large town, yeah? Got a little bit of detail here. We have number 1 is Upsala Castle. Where's that? Yeah. So in fact, yes, here we go. This is where the society is, and this is where our starting mystery is. We have the castle, the hospital, the university, cathedral, the central station, the asylum. Of course, we've always got to have an asylum. Botanical gardens. Olympus, number 9. Interesting. We got all the streets named. I wonder if those street names still exist today. But this is nice. Again, you know, as you say, Roger, we like maps. We do indeed. We'll just put that just there. Let's take a scan through these. So we have obviously a nice glossy front cover here, but the pages themselves, just like in the core rulebook, have this sort of matte finish, and I really like that. It gives a sort of sense of age, I guess, to the book. So we got a bit of an introduction, especially for people who are new to role-playing game. This, of course, is very useful. And it gives an oversight of what is Vaesen, about the Mythic North, about the site. So the characters that we play within the game are able to actually see Vaesen. Vaesen, and as it says here, throughout history, humans have shared their lands with Vaesen, trolls, ghosts, lindworms, and other creatures inhabiting the forest and the lakes. Many have helped the farmers in their back-breaking labour and made the dark winter nights more bearable with enchanted music and gifts in the form of strange handicrafts to blacksmiths and lute players. So although Vaesen have always been present, few have actually seen them. The creatures are imperceptible to the human eye. They choose whether to reveal themselves. So when you have a character who has the sight, is able to actually see Vaesen even when they're trying to remain invisible. So this is what makes us unique. And if I remember rightly, you get the sight by some kind of trauma which involved a Vaesen at some point earlier in your life. And then you essentially end up joining the society to basically, not necessarily hunt, but to investigate mysteries that occur. And the mysteries always have a sort of an idea of that the Vaesen are not necessarily evil, not necessarily overly good, maybe sort of neutral, and it's sometimes the circumstances or the human element that makes the situation, you know, a bit dangerous. That's what I've sort of found when I've read through a lot of the mysteries. So, quick info on safety tools, because of course there is a sort of horror element to these stories. Of course, you want to make sure that everybody around the table is comfortable with the content, and as it suggested, if you do have younger players, then tone down some of the darker sort of sides to it, so that they can enjoy it as well. But I can definitely see that this would be a game that could be very, very interesting to younger people, because we're talking about an era. This is in the it's the early 1900s, late 1800s, 1900s. I'm pretty sure that's when the setting. Yep, end of the 19th century. So it's just as sort of mechanical technology is starting to appear in the world. Towns and the Industrial Revolution is starting to happen. But it does suggest that if you wanted to sort of bring something forward slightly, then feel free to do so. You don't necessarily have to be 100% accurate to the exact time, but, you know, thereabouts. So as it says, Mythic North is not historically accurate, but an alternate world where events may correspond more or less to our reality. Yep. So Mythic North combines phenomena from the entire century, steamboats, trains, as well as political and philosophical movements from the end of the 19th century may well be mixed in with earlier phenomena. Talks a little bit about the full game. Player characters. And then goes through the various elements on the player character sheet. Of course, in the core rulebook, we'll go into a lot more detail. In a starter set, we're going to have our pre-gen characters. Of course, part of the fun, once you've explored what the starter set has to offer, is creating your own characters, isn't it? Talking about skill tests. So when to roll, 6s mean successes. Modifiers, here we go. The rules of the Games Master can modify your chances by adding or removing dice. This is referred to as a +1 die, +2. So yes, weapons and other equipment can modify your roll. So I could have had 2 more dice with that rifle. So I think my hunter, what did she have? Just double check. Torun, so had range precision at 5, ranged combat at 3, and the rifle would be +2. So in fact 10 dice would have been a total roll on that one, and I still would have only got 1 6. So multiple successes if you are not me rolling 10 dice. The better the result in combat, it usually means more damage. It can mean any number of bonus effects. The mystery text or the Games Master has final say. Again, we have these wonderful pieces of artwork that we'll see in the core rulebook. But it does talk about pushing the roll. So having failed a skill test, or if you just need more successes, you can choose to muster your strength and give it one more try, but this can only be done once per test. So push the roll, you can re-roll any dice that don't have 6s, but you must then use the new result instead. When you push the roll, you suffer a condition. So if you're rolling your skill for using physique or precision, then you must choose a physical condition, and if you are using logic or empathy, choose a mental. So we did see some conditions, didn't we, on the character sheet. Physical conditions are exhausted, battered, wounded and broken. Mental are angry, frightened, hopeless and broken. We have details on the combat with the initiative. So determine initiative, 10 cards, yep, we got those. So each player in the fight draws a random card at the beginning of each round. The Games Master draws cards for the NPCs. You're facing multiple similar opponents. The Games Master can choose to draw a single card from as a group. Okay, so it's essentially just drawing the card. Whatever number comes up, you go through in number order. But swapping initiative. So this is what or how the rules worked in Dragonbane. Which was quite handy that as the players, if somebody else has a lower initiative card and it makes sense for them to be able to do their action first, you could swap your initiative cards. So that's good. Zones and range, slow and fast actions. Attacking, dodging and parrying. And then here we go, our damage and conditions. So when you suffer a condition, you can choose any of the types, yep. When you've checked off all 3 physical or mental conditions and suffer another one of the same type, you are broken. So if you're broken by physical conditions, you must make a force roll each round. These rolls cannot be pushed. And so it does go through and it tells you the different conditions. And then we have fear, because of course we are going to see terrifying elements in the game. And then recovery. How to cure these conditions. So you can use medicine to heal other people's physical conditions, but not your own. Likewise, you can use inspiration to cure others of their mental conditions. And spend a few hours in a safe place will help, and resting. And that's it. So essentially, we got what, 16 pages worth of rules. It's a very quick guide through the rules, but that's essentially all you need to start playing. I'm going to put up the spoilers at this point. So if you are a player, I'm not going to focus in too much on it, but I do want to just have a quick flip through this mystery. So again, if you are going to be a player of the starter set, this might want to be the point where you stop watching, not to ruin any of the mysteries of this adventure. As it points out here, this is for the GM's eyes only. Have a quick look. A bit of a prelude with a background. Invitation. This is how the players start the actual mystery. We have some characters we're going to meet here. Then the actual description of the location, the castle. The library. The bathroom, the laboratory. And then, yeah, we have so it's actually quite a concise, small adventure, isn't it? Not many pages at all. Ultimately, we have our map that will be in the center of the table, and we'll meet one Vaesen along with some NPCs. So that brings us on nicely to, I think, what is probably one of the best props. This is brilliant. I really like this. This is the Codex Occultum. I think this is worth the starter set prices. This is for just this item alone, because the sort of the bestiary that is within the core rulebook has all the additional information regarding the Vaesen, but this is definitely the player-focused guide. And to have this with your players, as a games master, you can be a little bit sort of, you can tease some of the elements about the Vaesen, so maybe they don't quite know which one it might be, and maybe you could do some red herrings, and they have to research it. And so being able to go through this and get some information and try and piece together what Vaesen they're actually encountering, because once they understand that, then they will know what they need to do to deal with it. I think that's really, really good. So again, we've got this gloss cover, but the nice matte pages inside, and it's kind of a shame. Don't mind these being gloss. This would have been great if it was a matte cover, or even hardbacked version, like the books that they do for Forbidden Lands. I accept the fact, though, that would have increased the cost of the box set, and of course ultimately they want to try and make it as affordable as possible. But that's just a little, wouldn't it have been cool to have had a hardbacked matte version of this. So let's have a quick sort of flick through. In essence, it is a guide in alphabetical order of the different Vaesen that you might encounter on your travels, with little notes and little bits of descriptions. And is it, banishment, how you ultimately get rid of these particular Vaesen. We looked at these in great detail when we looked at the core book, but I just think this way of presenting this information is brilliant. And of course, we've got the wonderful artwork throughout this. I'm going to have a little bit of difficulty with the handwriting elements to this. Got our fairies and ghosts. What do you think of this, Roger? Do you like this? I like these sketches. These are great. Didn't we? I think when we were looking at Vaesen originally, wasn't there a movie? And it is I'm sure it's a Swedish movie called Troll. Do you remember that? It would be cool if the Codex was more like a journal book on the outside with a leather strap to it. Yeah, I totally agree. I can well imagine there will be some creative GMs out there who will take this book and with a little bit of care, because it is stapled. You know what? I'm having ideas here. Ooh. Could I do a version of this? Could I make a hardbacked notebook version? Be very, very careful. I think I know somebody who does bookbinding. Yeah. Oh, a revenant. This is really cool. This is very, very cool. Of course, there's a troll. You saw the movie, yes. I think actually you might have been the person who told me about it. A Vatir? Yeah, Vatir. These are awesome. Werewolf. Will-o'-the-wisp. So, this is really cool. This is a great addition. I think, yes, teasing your players with what they're potentially encountering and using this book as a way for them to sort of do some research. I think that's brilliant. Really, really good. I like that a lot. That's essentially a quick look through of all the components within the starter set. Now, other news. Let me get the book here. So, on the channel there, we did do a look through the core rulebook. So I'm not going to go through this in a huge amount of detail because, of course, you could go and check out that previous video. And needless to say, really enjoyed looking through all the detail here. But what they have done now, I think it was yesterday on the 28th, is they have released a revised edition of the Vaesen core rulebook. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up the digital version of the revised edition. So give me 2 seconds. Let's see if we can make this work. Yeah. All right. So this revised edition. So what are the differences? So if I just go through, inside the actual book, there's a little point down at the bottom of the page there. This is a revised edition of the book. A number of clarifications have been made and optional simplified rules have been added. In addition, the rules for critical injuries, healing and equipment have been slightly modified. So that's the changes. It's not a second edition by any means. It's a few little tweaks. This is the core rulebook, as I say, and if I sort of flip through, I can get to the same page. But as you can see, this version that I have, which is not the revised, doesn't have that small disclaimer. Now, the only sort of criticism I have here is, and it's only for a very small portion of people, I suppose, because if you are new to Vaesen and you are wanting to get the core rulebook, then you should, at this time, well, certainly if you order it from the Free League's website, you will get the actual revised edition, because this original version will no longer be available. And I do believe that when you order books from Free League Direct, you do get the PDF straight away. As you know, it's always helpful to have the actual book, but also have it maybe digitally, so you can have it on your pad. It's very handy to be able to do quick searches through a digital copy. But if you are potentially wanting to pick up the revised edition from maybe a local game store, it's going to take a little bit of time before these revised editions potentially get out into the store. And then if the book itself is sealed, the only way that you're going to know if you've got a revised edition is flicking through to this 4th page to basically find that little disclaimer. Unfortunately, there is nothing on the back. I've looked at the back of both books, both this, obviously this is the original, and looking at the digital back, and they are identical. So it's a little bit of a shame that this, you know, if you really did want to make sure you got the revised edition, you will only find out once you open the book. Now, is the revised edition essential if you already have the core rulebook? I don't think it is. The changes are very, very minor. So you can absolutely, you know, get away with it. What I would probably suggest is get yourself a digital version. Keep your core rulebook, get the digital version, and then you've got those slight updates. But of course, as a new player, potentially you're going to be getting the revised edition anyway. To give you an idea, I'm just going to find a suitable page where there is a change, so I can actually highlight it to you. It took me a little bit to actually find. So let me look. I think that one, 44. I'll have a quick look here. No, difficult. Essentially what's happened is these little boxes, they've been swapped out. And I just need to find an example for you. I probably should have going to be... Here we go. Combat. So 58. Aha! There we go. So you can see how they've done a slight change. So on this page here, it's playing cards for initiative, whereas in the digital revised edition now you actually do have a section called simplified initiative. So slight changes here. That's essentially it as you go through. Let's see if we can find another example. There we go. So page 64. This is even better. Again, this is where they've dropped out these little graphical elements and put in simplified crits. So those are the sort of changes dotted throughout the book. So it's not major. If you have the original book, absolutely fine. If you want to have the very latest version, probably just get yourself the PDF. But if you're new to the game, then absolutely pick up the brand new version. So there we go. That is it, basically. What do you think, Roger? You still like the idea of Vaesen? Do you think this starter set is a good way to get involved? It would be nice for a GM with the original book if they'd mark the pages with the changes in a red symbol. Totally agree. That's a cracking idea. Yes. I think it's because the changes are so small that maybe it's like, oh, it's not a major update. But I probably would say something similar for the upcoming Aliens Evolved edition. Even just having a page, we've seen it in some versions where they do a false back to the back of the book. So on the it's shrink wrapped within the actual book itself. When you take the page away, on the inside of the page, it lists all the points where there are major changes. Or they do a small section within the book itself where it says, if you had the original version, you don't need to read these elements because these are all exactly the same. These are the new points that you want to focus in on. Because if you have played the game extensively previously, then you only want to know what the new elements are because you're familiar with the rules. You just want to know what the changes are. So yes, I totally agree that having some way of communicating that would definitely have been very, very helpful. But the good thing about, the internet is someone's going to generate that and it'll be on a forum somewhere. It might even become a download on the Free League's website. That's the great thing about it, isn't it? Games are never sort of static, they evolve. You're saying the starter set is great, you get lots of extras. Yeah, I think this is a really, really good starter set. I really like it. As you can tell, I love this. I think the map's fantastic. We're getting these great character sheets with wonderful artwork throughout. We've got a great map of the castle. Again, beautiful artwork. You'd have to check on the Free League website to see what the cost is in dollars for yourself. I think it's £25 British pounds, which is really, really affordable for what it is. So this is it's a great starting set to get into the game. So yeah, recommend it. Think it's really, really good. And of course, as you know, I do recommend the actual game itself. I love the idea. We've been watching the Conjuring movies recently, and I think some of those storylines in those movies could be adapted to a game like this, and as opposed to it being a sort of demonic presence, maybe it's one of these Vaesen that are causing issues. So yeah, there's lots of inspiration, isn't there, out there in movies and books and comic books and games that you could adapt into this role-playing game. So yeah, a lot of fun. And of course, as you saw, there are plenty of adventure modules that exist for it. So it's a good system to get into because there's plenty of support. And certainly with the 2 new books that we will be taking a look at. I can't wait to show you this one on Friday. This one is really, really, really good. This one's actually good. Both of them are very good, but this one definitely is. Hopefully you get a bit of an idea just from the front cover what this one might be covering. Yeah. So that's going to be Friday night. In fact, see, I've got so excited. I should be doing this, shouldn't I? So that gives it even more of a tease. So we're going to be going to Prague, Ukraine, and Transylvania. Oh, what could this possibly be covering? So, well, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I hope you enjoyed taking a look at the Vaesen Nordic Horror Role-Playing Starter Set from Free League Publishing. That is available now on the Free League website. On Friday night, Halloween itself, we will be taking a look at Vaesen Nordic Horror Mythic Carpathia. So we are going to be looking at vampires and a new archetype, the vampire hunter. So that's going to be a lot of fun. So that's our show on Friday. And then we will be having a show on Monday when we take a look at the very latest adventure book, all about exploring Vaesen within the city. We are leaving the countryside and heading into the big city. So those are the 2 upcoming shows on the channel. I hope you'll be able to join me on those. But until next time, bye for now.